Another thing I love that the British did was that they burned the White House of the United States, of course. Callum Groom. Seriously, lol, I would laugh my socks off if China wipes out America, by which he means the central part of North America, so arrogant it pretends to be all of it. He continues, because I won't be fighting for a coward country. I'm British. I hate America. They cause nothing but problems. Well, you started them. I also love that they invented the computer. The British have increased knowledge greatly, as the Bible prophesied. Knowledge shall be increased in the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro is the age of discovery and globalization. God chose to exalt the ones Romans laughed at for being so primitive and backwards, as the ones who would be key to the rise of science. So the last shall be first, and the first last. God does this in order to humiliate the proud, so no one can boast. But God hath chosen the foolish things of the world to confound the wise, the so-called wise, the wise according to the world, not according to God. And God hath chosen the weak things of the world to confound the things which are mighty. And base things of the world, and things which are despised, hath God chosen, yea, and things which are not, to bring to naught things that are, that no flesh should glory in his presence. I do not boast in Spanish glory. I am not proud to be Spanish. Pride precedes the fall. I am glad to be Spanish. Huge difference. You should be glad to be whatever tribe you're from. There's beauty in every culture except maybe, actually even rap crap culture has beauty. Anyway, I do not hide the crimes of Spain. The Inquisition was evil. They imposed counterfeit so-called Christianity on all. I give credit where due. Venetians and the Genoese invented the caravel, enabling Spain's rise. Whenever I say how great the Spanish Empire was, it is always with the understanding that it was by God's grace that my people do not deserve. Jerónimo de Ayans y Beaumont was a Spanish guy who invented a steam-powered water pump for draining mines and did other stuff. Who invented the galleon? Spaniards. But modern Spain isn't cool. It's a liberal, atheistic shithole. Modern Spain is a disgrace that stands for everything the glorious empire fought against. Only its anti-Catholic inclination is semi-good. If that for which the Spanish Empire has stood since the days of Charles V is right, then everything for which the United States stands and has always stood is wrong. Check this out to show how liberalism poisoned Britain.
Don't ask me why. I just woke up in a fucking steaming mood, yeah? Because I live in a shithole. It's a fucking shithole. I hate the fucking place. I fucking hate it. It's full of dickheads. I fucking hate it.
Napoleon beat Britain. Post-mortem, because the ugly nation fell to his liberal ways after he died. This is primarily why the so-called Queen of England is more of an actress than an actual holder of the power that a monarch, by definition, would have had. Absolute. Almost half of British youth want to abolish the so-called monarchy. Monarchs in name only. This applies to the so-called King of Spain as well. By the way, I'm more Spanish than the King of Spain because he's a Germanic, whereas I'm of the native race, the true Spanish race, the Iberians. And I covered that in this series, by the way. Also, he's from a French dynasty, for crying out loud. Now, do you know how the British Empire fell? It was the German Empire, the Third Reich, which bankrupted, having bombed London and caused them to get heavily indebted to their former colony, the United States of America. Even though Britain had the supposedly biggest empire ever and a giant natural moat, and had to face only east of it in Europe, unlike Germany, which had to face more sides simultaneously, the Germans still wrecked Britain. Although it was of course by Masonic delusion, as proven in part 2. Danke Deutschland, ein Spanier. Russia saved Britain. But in the news now, I hear that Brits want to go to the east of Europe to murder Russians, because the Russians are trying to take back a lost part of Russia. Well, if the Brits want to take back a lost part of Britain, if the English want to take Wales after it's seized or something, well, they wouldn't want the Russians to come to kill the Brits, would they? The English, that is. The US helped to save Britain, although they came later like vultures, waiting for the right time, when the others had already done much of the work. Some other narcissist Brit said, Britain won, Germany failed, and we did it alone. Wow. Look at this nonsense. Look at this pride. How disgusting. And I'm just going to let you know, this is probably legit. You can look into it yourself. In my voyages through the endless Spanish Empire, I've come to admire the Spanish treatment to the natives as equals, even forming mixed families and creating hospitals and universities for them. I have met indigenous mayors and bishops and even military men, which solidifies social peace, well-being, and happiness for all, which we currently seek for ourselves in the territories where, with much effort, we deprive them of. It seems that London's mist shrouds the heart and understanding, while the clarity of sunny Spain allows her to see better and to listen to God better. Your lordship should consider the policy of depopulation and extermination, since clearly Spanish faith and intelligence are constructing, not like us, an empire of death, but rather a civilized society that will ultimately end up imposing itself as if by divine mandate. Spain is the wise Greece, the imperial Rome. England is the Turkish corsair. England is the Turkish corsair in another way also. Islam. London has fallen, Muslim ruler, more Indian than European. Demography is destiny. This is what happens when you allow mass third world immigration, you dumb liberals. Sadiq Khan, Emir of Londonistan. White genocide, hashtag. Newcastle fans party into the night, 'cause there was a takeover by the Saudis. Look at that clueless Brit. Londonistan, hashtag, capital of Muslims, immigrants in Europe, by London Power. Spain kicked out Islam, but you Brits had to undo centuries worth of progress by importing the enemy. Yes, Brits, you did help in the Portuguese reconquest in Lisbon especially, when your crusaders were going around Iberia. But look what you've done. Look what you've done, Brits. You and other dumb liberals have done this.
Fascist ideology.
Here's
What
fascist.
You're a racist.
How am I a racist?
You hate Asians,
what
yeah?
race? What race are
Yeah,
Asians?
yeah.
What race are Muslims?
Where are you running away
Oh,
from?
because I know,
Why are you running away
I know what you like, bruv. You have
Where-
about 100 you in a minute. You f***ing little chief. Prick, you see?
You went full retard, Brit. Never go full retard. The ugly nation is cucked. Gibraltar. Londonistan. No! Gibraltar again! Russia and China will probably deal with it in World War III. No! Now I summon McShake. Bam! Muslims dominate the English in England.